Okay, hi everyone. I think we can just start. Welcome to the panel. It's called User Acquisition 2.0, Contemporary Approaches and Best Practices. I would love to welcome you all. I hope you're gonna find this very interesting. I'm joined by 4 other experts. Would you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves? Yeah.
So I'll go. So hi everyone, we're glad to be here with all of you. So I'm Keshav, I am from InMobi and I head the performance business for them for the Middle East, Turkey and Africa and Cyprus region. So as part of my work, I get to interact with a lot of publishers who want to run their user acquisition, who want to acquire users. So yeah, that's about me.
Welcome all, this is Uzeyir. I'm leading UA and monetization team at Unico Studio. Mobile game developer. We do brain puzzle games mostly. Yeah, looking forward to the discussion.
Hello all, this is Barış from the Voyager Growth and Games. We are doing the publishing for the studios, for the developers, and also providing the consulting service for the studios who want to do self-publishing. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Hi, I'm Gonca, Senior Business Development Analyst at AppLovin. A little bit of what we do, we build technologies for businesses to connect to their ideal clients, and we provide them with a software to grow and monetize these global audiences.
Thank you all for your introduction. So we can just start with the questions right away, or maybe we can do a quick round of like fun facts, or maybe how did you get into the user acquisition business or mobile marketing business? Up to you. Go.
Yeah. So actually, I was working as an engineer before. After that, I really like to play the games and the analytic for looking at the data and summarizing it, action on it. So yeah, that's how I became UA and growth manager in the mobile gaming, especially. Yeah, I can say that.
Anybody else wants to?
Right after my graduation, my very first role was more like a performance marketing, like assistant manager. I used to work with all these like financial products, but still in the digital marketing space. And then I just moved from the client side to like the software side, and this is what I'm doing pretty much.
Thank you.
So mine is a very funny story. So right after my post-graduation, I was working with a IT services company as a sales manager, and I was not looking out for opportunities. But then I got this call from a recruitment manager from InMobi, and she's like, I'm calling from InMobi, global ad tech company. I'm like, who InMobi? I was not like I was working in a different world altogether. That was back in 2018. And we chatted for 5 minutes. She asked me, to Google InMobi, and I Googled after the call and got to know that they were the first unicorn from India and a profitable one at that. So yeah, so that was my journey within the ad tech industry and within the digital ecosystem. So it's been 5 years now.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been my 6 years in the ad tech and the mobile gaming. Before that, I was in a different sector, mostly economics. And we tried some health AI startup and failed in Turkey. But it was an overall good experience to see the landscape. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, interesting path everybody taken. So we can just proceed with the questions if you don't mind. And that would be the first question. What are the latest trends and innovations in user acquisition strategies? How do contemporary approaches to user acquisition differ from traditional methods? Can you take it, Keshav?
I'll take a stab at that. So what we are seeing right now is the whole ecosystem is moving towards ID-less world, right? There is a lot of focus on privacy-first campaigns, privacy-safe signals. So a lot of publishers, the smart ones, they have they have the first mover advantage where they know that right now ID campaigns are still available, IDs are still available, whilst a lot of it is deprecated already, and there is probabilistic attribution also available. And in future, Android will also come up with their own privacy sandbox, right? So what they're doing is they're doing A/B testing whilst everything is available to understand which kind of users are working, what kind of performance metrics they need to identify in the privacy safe world whilst IDs are still available. So that's one, adoption of SCAN plus the privacy safe campaigns. Second is a lot of innovation is being done on the creative side. We see a lot of innovative videos being coming out. I was speaking to one of the very known publishers in the Turkey gaming community, and they talked about how they have been innovating with not misleads, but very minor misleads, wherein if they see success with those misleads, then they incorporate those characters in the gameplay. Yeah. So that's a very unique way of going about the ads, but not exactly misleads, but very minor misleads. Plus, I think the focus on exploring all the ad slots is also coming back, because not all the sources have videos. So to identify the right user, you need to have mix of all the ad units, right? So that's also coming back into the picture. And I think lastly, there is a lot of innovation and partnerships being done on the services outside of Play Store and App Store. You are seeing that across on-device monetization, where you're not just going ahead with pre-installs or on-device monetization, but it's evolving in a very different way. So there's a paradigm shift where we are seeing that on-device monetization is coming up with very contextual, immersive experiences. For example, InMobi in itself, we have launched something called Glance Folders. And we are seeing a bunch of different players in the market who are doing similar stuff, where the users are not thrown pre-installed apps through telco partnerships or through OEM partnerships, but they're made to explore what kind of apps they want to have and use on their devices. Yep.
Thank you.
So over the past couple of years, we've started seeing more and more publishers moving away from ad-heavy, hyper-casual titles to hybrid casual titles. Those titles are monetized with both ads and IAPs. Essentially, the core game mechanic is the same, but they are like coupled with more advanced features like social features, gaming features. They tend to have better retention rates and engagement rates in the long run. A part of the reason for this change in strategy, like in monetization strategy, it has to do with the decline in eCPMs that we've started seeing in the past few years. Well, this shift in monetization strategies is also reflected in advanced campaign mixes that all these advertisers run on top UA channels like AppLovin as well. They still heavily utilize all these, again, advanced campaign types that make use of ad revenue data sets for optimization, like ad ROAS. But we've also started seeing an increase in total ROAS campaigns, or as we call them, blended ROAS. This campaign type leverages both ads and IAPs for optimization. And I would say blended ROAS campaigns are a simple proof of this fast-changing industry trends in user acquisition. Over time, many of our large publishers have also started reducing the share of ads in their revenue model by increasing the number of IAP offers in their gameplay. As a result, for all these, top scaling titles on our platform, IAP ROAS campaigns have become the campaign type that is run along with blended ROAS campaigns, if they're not the only campaign type that is live. Overall, what we see with those like campaign types, these advertisers, they also tend to maximize their scale by expanding the advanced campaign mixes. And this is the most effective way for acquiring users that have like different growth curves in the long run with varying engagement rates. And with the introduction of our new algorithm, Axon 2, our advertisers have become less dependent on top-tier countries for generating revenue. Because now they have the option to target all geos globally with only one target and one global budget. And our system pretty much just continues to buy users from these countries in line with their potential. And I think this is one of the most crucial aspects of how contemporary UA approaches differ from traditional methods.
Thank you very much.
As you know, we got the new topic called like the hybrid casual. As Gonca said, you need to adaptate your hyper vision to the hybrid vision. Such as you need to adaptate new IAP package offers to increase the IAP volume in your title, in your app, in your game. Especially, you need to adaptate the new trends in the industry. You need to follow the new creative trends, such as the new trend topic features. Because you need to adaptate your creative side as well, beside of the economic side, in-game economics and in-game metrics. I can say that as a summary, and I agree with Gonca.
Yeah, I think the biggest innovation in the user acquisition recently has been the impact of AI. Like, it's not a recent thing, but recently we started to feel the impact of AI, like Gonca mentioned, in some of for some of ad networks and for some type of ad campaigns. Maybe some of you may remember just not long ago, a few years ago, we used to download a large CSVs. We used to make source level optimization. We used to make geo level optimization in all networks. And you go to the network dashboards, ad network dashboards, you're going to see those CSV managers still available. I don't know who used them. But thanks to AI, as UA managers, we don't need to do too much work. We make like kind of small changes, and we try to decide which advanced campaign type is right for our games to acquire users. And the rest of the times, we more focus on creatives. On the creative front as well, we see the big impact of AI, but I think it's still not there. You have to put a lot of input, like to make a good creative. Still, your creative managers, marketing artists work hard on the creative side, but in terms of campaign management and campaign optimization, and finding the right audience, the AI has the biggest impact. Like, it has impact all over the industries, but EdTech is one of the sectors that we can feel the immediate impacts. The networks who made investment on AI and machine learning timely, I think reaping the benefits, and also as the game developers and the advertisers, we are the kind of the primary beneficiaries of these developments.
I completely agree. Thank you all, guys. And we can move to another question, which would be, what are the key metrics and KPIs used to measure the success of user acquisition campaigns? I'd say mostly the guys would optimize towards revenue at the end of the day, but has anything changed? Is there anything different in these turbulent times? There, you can take it right away.
I can start right away, yeah. Return on ad spend, it will be kind of an easy question, but I have a kind of a reservation, not just return on ad spend, ROAS at scale. Like, you can have a $100 campaign with good ROAS, that's not an achievement. The achievement is to be able to sustain the ROAS at very high scale. If you're spending 20K, 50K a day with and if you still achieve your bare ROAS targets, then that's not that's an achievement. And also, I would the second metric, by the way, we assume that the product is good, you have a good monetization setup, everything is all right, game economy is good. The creative part, the conversion rates and the install rates, those are the metrics that as user acquisition managers that we have power over. We can make changes on these. The other part, the ROAS and everything, it's just most of the targeting is done by kind of the ad networks. We don't do heavy lifting, but on the creative side, increasing the conversion rates, increasing the store conversion rates, and the click-through rates, and the IPMs, that is still the part that we can make a difference. So if you are lucky, your gameplay creatives, you're going to have high IPMs, but a few people are lucky with gameplay creatives and everything. You have to work hard to reach the IPM targets, to increase IPMs, and that's I believe, the hard part of the UA job right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, as Uzeyir mentioned about there are so many metrics in the UA side, but you need to focus on another metrics for the product side, because when you are testing the new title, you need to sure about that you can scale that title and you can sustain the scale, because that is not the point that only spending 10K to get the 120 ROAS. You need to sustain the scale. You need to sustain the spend in the ad networks. So you need to allocate your cash flow. You need to allocate your in-game metrics and the live ops also. So I can say that in the recent features, you can look at the purchase conversion value rate, and you need to increase your retention rate, because that's not the case. Finding the lower CPI right now, that's the hyper casual, not that, but that's the end of the low CPI scenario. Because yes, you can find the CPI higher than the $1, but if you can monetize it, yes, it's success. But if you can't, yeah, you need to push your live ops or the in-game economy. I can say that. Yeah.
I'll just combine what Uzeyir and Barış have just mentioned. And yes, indeed, all these product metrics as well as ROAS multipliers, those are key elements that ultimately determine a given user's lifetime value. And one very frequent conversation that we have with our advertisers, it's about the CPIs, right? Historically, hitting a certain CPI goal meant that your app or your campaign was successful. Though, right now, regardless of the CPI, CPI is still quite an important function for sure, but what's really important here is, of course, ROAS, and whether your campaign allows you to break even within an acceptable time window, which has to do with of course, ARPDAU, average revenue that you could generate per user, and it goes with all your app level metrics. And when it comes to evaluating lifetime value of a given user, we of course always need to keep in mind our product level metrics. If you know in a realistic way, right? I should underline here realistic way, because if you know that, for instance, you have very few users left after day 7, and you are aware of the maximum average revenue that you could generate per user, then you should, of course, monitor your cost of acquisition, cost per installs accordingly. But what if you acquire users at a very cheap CPI from some certain channels, and they leave your app by the end of day one without allowing you to make enough revenue in return, then those users might not indeed be as valuable as you expected them to be based on solely the CPI that you bought them at. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I think the points around the ROAS have been covered pretty exhaustively. So I think overall I would agree with all my co-panelists. But I think one thing which I'd like to add here is that, which Gonca actually mentioned, is the tenure of the ROAS. So let's say if you're getting a ROAS of $5 on a spend of $3 in 30 days versus ROAS of $5 on spends of $3 in 90-day window, you know pretty well which one is better, right? So I think overall, the ROAS and the retention are very interlinked. And if you're not getting retention from a particular ad network or DSP, then you know, at whatever lowest CPI you are getting the user acquired at, it will not make any sense because that user won't spend any time in the app to make any purchases. So knowing the retention metrics of that particular DSP or ad network, and then comparing it with your other partners, and knowing when, in what time cohort that user is becoming profitable is very important. So yeah.
All right, thank you guys. I got the next one here. This one's pretty long, so here goes. How can businesses effectively target and acquire new users in today's competitive landscape? What role does data analytics and machine learning play in optimizing user acquisition efforts? Do you mind starting, Kishore?
So I think there's a lot of focus going on in AI/ML space right now, and it's kind of a buzzword right now. But not all machine learning algorithms are built the same. You need to understand with your vendors, what kind of predictions, what is the quantum of prediction they are doing per second? Is it in multi-million per second or not? So machine learning will help you in understanding, when are that DSPs or ad networks able to acquire a user, at what bid price, at using what creative, what time of the day, what day of the week, so on and so forth. So all of this is going to be powered by the data that they are leveraging in making the informed decisions by the machine learning algorithm, right? And the more the data that ad network is able to consume to make those decisions, the better your performance will be. So understanding what kind of machine learning algorithms these vendors are leveraging, whether it's like 10 years old machine learning algorithm or very advanced machine learning algorithm which currently are based on neural networks, will really help you understand which business is more effective for your apps, right? And analytics is being used to understand what kind of creatives are working well. So a lot of publishers are currently utilizing creative testing tools where they are understanding which creatives are working well on which platform, and then they are replicating those success stories across different gameplays, different ad networks. So machine learning and analytics, they both go hand in hand, but machine learning is more so on the vendor side, and whereas the creative side is more so on the client side.
Well, speaking of machine learning, I think it's also quite crucial to feed the algorithm with the right data sets. And in this sense, monetization and UA efforts, they go hand in hand. Ensuring that you have the right monetization setup and the right ad frequency on the ad monetization side, and the right IAP offers that help you convert your installs into repeated purchasers, well, those are quite crucial for effectively, again, buying users. And doing so, you will maximize your ARPDAU, increase the amount of signals you are feeding the algorithm with, and then the machine learning pretty much just optimizes towards the goal set in a faster way. And we have some of our partners already here with us on the stage. They've already experienced how our new algorithm precise is when it comes to hitting the new goal in place. But then again, if you see that, for instance, if you look at like all these different channels performances, and then if you see that, like for instance, AppLovin's long-term multipliers are stronger than some other channels, then dropping your goals would allow our system to increase its scale while still hitting your long-term KPIs. So the role your analytics teams and UA teams, when it comes to setting the right target per channel, is very, very important. So all these advertisers that have seen growth on our platform, but then in general as well, they've paid attention to a few important points. Those are, as I've already mentioned, setting the right target, because if your target is realistic, then you will both see profitable scale and performance on our channel as well. But then again, ensuring you have the right monetization set up for like ad-heavy titles, and then the right IAP offers, or both for hybrid casual titles. Those 2 points, those 2 elements are also very important for feeding the algorithm with the right data sets.
New AI and machine learning features are taking really important place in the current situation in the gaming, as Gonca mentioned about the not only in the UA side, also in the monetization side. You need to adaptate the new real-time bidding partners, and also as the UA side, you need to acquire the right user characteristics for your game, and scale your titles, scale your campaign. Yeah, we are using also AppLovin, and we are happy to we are happy to increase our titles in there, and you need to adaptate your creatives in the AI and machine learning with the help of the AI and machine learning as well. Not only the data, not only the analytics, you need to adaptate your processes, not only the campaigns, not only the monetization waterfalls. You need to adaptate AI and machine learning in all your processes in your organization, as I think so, because that's the future. You need to adaptate your team in these AI and machine learning systems. I can say that.
Yeah. How can I say? How can businesses effectively acquire new users? I'm going to start with the basics. If you're a game developer or you have a mobile app developer, whatever, major networks, they should work well. Like the main SDK networks, you should, your campaigns on major SDK networks should work well. If they're not working, let me give you the bad news, you're in trouble. Like, I'm not going to talk about influencer marketing. It's a good addition, but first, you need to make your SDK network campaigns work really well. Like, we all know major networks, and AppLovin is here. Like, if you are using Max Mediation, your ad ROAS campaign should work really well. If it's not working, try again, try again. At some point, it should work. Or change your game. Find a game, develop a game that does work with ad ROAS campaign. If you build an IAP-heavy game, your IAP ROAS campaigns should work. Like the social networks, like your Facebook campaign should be profitable. Or Google Ads campaign needs to be profitable. If you have Snapchat campaigns working, good for you, you are lucky. But first the Facebook and Google Ads, all the major things, that you need to be able to like have profitable campaigns on these networks. You build an IAP heavy game, then the VO campaigns on Facebook should work and needs to be profitable. These are the main channels. But if everything is okay, then you are on a good track, then try other networks like the offer walls, other incentive-wise media, on-device channels like the preload networks, also some other maybe agencies, some small managed networks, some affiliate networks, all the major DSPs. And don't be shy from targeted trying new channels. Maybe as a company at Unico, we tried more than 200 networks so far. Different campaign types. If it's not working, try again. Like among the DSPs, we tried Liftoff, Moloko, Arki, InMobi, cross-installs, all of them. Some of them works, most of them doesn't work, and this shouldn't be a discouraging sign. But in the beginning, as I said, first the major SDK networks and the main campaign type should work for your game, and try to make it work. And maybe at first try, you can see kind of mixed results or discouraging results. You can try again, like maybe on AppLovin, on the third or fourth try, for a specific game, we tried fourth time the AdROAS campaign. It worked in the third time, not in the first time. Second time, you make adjustments. You look at the creatives, why they are not working, where are we doing something wrong, and then you try again. Yeah, I can say that.
Thank you. So sounds like a never-ending process with the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, exactly.
In case, well, sometimes there's not, but you can always try again.
Yeah.
So, okay, next question would be, what are some best practices for creating compelling ad creatives and messaging to attract new users? Feel free.
For the creative side, you can take the advantage with working with the networks as well. Such as AppLovin, such as other networks, TikTok as well. You need to try different things in the creative side. You need to be pioneer in that side, and also you need to adaptate the playable in your campaign for the performance network as well. For instance, if you are running the blended or AdROAS or IAP-based ROAS campaign in the networks, you need to try, give it a try for the playable. And so you can share the basic mechanics of your game to the target audience. And you can catch the audience by serving the playable ads, not only the video. And also, I can say that the user-generated content in the social side, especially, is working really, really well. You need to adaptate your titles for the tailor-made videos, not only the gameplay, not only the generic music in the background. That's not the case right now, because I think that's popularity. That's the end of the popularity of the only gameplay videos or the only GIF images. That's not the case right now. You need to be pioneer in your campaign, in your creative side, and also I can say that you can adaptate the real videos in the beginning of your video or the another type of creative. It can work really, really well. I can say that.
I 100% agree with what Barış has just said. Like playables, like I'm referring to like multiple click playable ads are quite successful at increasing your engagement rates. And I think Unico team is also quite successful at those. I believe you guys have your own in-house solution for it, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, we also have the means to produce playable end cards within a few hours, and they could be quite a decent replacement for like playable ads, multiple click playable ads. But for these like in-depth titles or like IAP heavy titles, hybrid casual titles, playable ads are more like a must-have in our world. And our internal creative studio Spark Labs, like I just want to tap on some like creative concepts that have shown success so far. well, they've seen success in playables, creatives, when they give users the option to customize their gameplay. So concepts such as character customization or like renovation, they've proven to be quite successful indeed to increase engagement rates. The use of real-life people, this is also quite successful. So the main reason for this is psychologically, humans tend to recognize human faces a lot more easily than any other creative elements. So they engage with those ads more. I'm sure you must have all like checked all these platforms like a Sensor Tower to have an understanding of what these like top scaling advertisers run. And you must have seen that like failure concepts tend to get the highest amount of impressions because they are better at converting than success concepts. And for like puzzle titles, like Brain Test, for instance, those creatives that drove attention to the intelligence of the user, like IQ, brain age of the user, they also tend to perform pretty well. And we've also had a few, creative optimization enhancements as part of our new algorithm. Our new algorithm has the capability to target different audiences with different creative sets. So if you want to unlock a new audience group to increase your scale, then finding a new winning creative set is the way to go. And the way our algorithm, it tests new creatives, well, it simply tests all these like newly uploaded creative sets against the top scaling ones and looks at metrics such as install rate or post-install metrics, like ROAS, if it's a ROAS campaign, and then decides on the next winning creative set. As a general note, I mean, it's always a good call to refresh your creatives at least one time per week to fight against, creative fatigue. This is what we recommend to our advertisers.
Yep. So playables have been a game changer. But then there are few ad networks who don't let the users play the entire playable, and then they sneakily, redirect them to the Play Store or App Store, or just open the install card. So having said that, incorporating the exact playable of the video that you are showing really helps in improving the conversion rate. And if you're targeting a new user who has not played your game before, he's not a reinstaller, then in that case, showing a video of a very recent stage and making that user play a game version of that early stage would really help him convert. Instead of showing him a stage of later stages of the game where they might think that the game is the ad is a misleading ad. That can be very helpful. Alongside, I think publishers should not be averse to trying out all the ad slots, not just video and video plus playables, but all other ad slots such as banners, interstitials, because you can find different type of users on certain apps where videos are not available. So the ad monetization is done in a way that videos are not available. So those users, identifying those users is very critical. And banners and interstitials would be very helpful in those scenarios. Sorry for my bad throat, just really trying to survive the Istanbul cold.
Thank you. Regarding the creatives, video is still the dominant format. But as Gonca said, the playables are kind of the rising star. I have a few things to say about the videos that we recently tested. Both shorter videos we test on some platforms like TikTok and also on Google Ads, because of the YouTube Shorts gaining traction and because of its placements and on Snap, maybe shorter videos perform well. But at the same time, we test longer videos, not 30 seconds, but 40 seconds, 50 seconds videos. They perform well on SDK networks, also on Facebook as well. I don't know why. Maybe people kind of accepted the ads reality, enjoy watching longer ads. But it's kind of maybe because of the placements that it can be shown, we see good performance with longer videos as well. Not just the classic 25 seconds, 30 seconds videos, but try longer version, shorter version. And as Barış said, the UGC is just a few seconds in the beginning, or voiceovers. They are really effective. Like this is under the kind of refining your creative. You have a hit creative, you have a top creative. Try the voiceover version. Try the UGC version. Try different versions. Like on TikTok, there are some tools like Creative Exchange and things like that. It sometimes works, but you can work with some influencers, or there are similar networks as well to produce this sort of different iterations. On the playable side, yeah, we've been investing on playables a lot. Like we have 4 developers producing playables for a long time. Even our motion designers, video team can produce playables from videos. They are not as high quality as the ones that are developed from the code. But on some networks like AppLovin or other channels, it really helps to increase your scale and to reach out to right users. These are the things that I'm going to add.
All right, thank you all. One thing that you mentioned about the using the real-life footage from the as a hook at the start of the creatives, one thing that comes to mind right away is the whiteout survival ads. Like they've been doing this like crazy, and somehow just resonated with me. All right, the next question would be how important is user retention in conjunction with user acquisition, and what strategies can be employed to improve retention rates? Uzeyir, do you mind starting?
Yeah, I can start. I think this is also our internal discussion during the game development process with our product team and other teams, the retention, and especially during the soft launch period. We always make this calculation. Okay, we make a soft launch, and we see that user retention is low, not as expected, and then we look, where are we acquiring these users? From Facebook. Through which videos, which creatives? Are these the gameplay creatives? And are we running the right type of campaigns? And this is the initial stage. And if the game is kind of, okay, this could be a profitable game, it's a growing game, then it becomes complex. You know, and they are really connected. Are you acquiring the right users in the first place? The best way to improve retention, in my opinion, is the right UA. Do not blame the product team for sometimes low retention. If you are sometimes running UGC creatives, for example, it has risks as well. Running non-gameplay creatives, it has risks. It has an impact on retention. You see a low retention, and then why this game has a low retention, lower engagement rates? Because you're not using the right creatives, a right balance, of course, and you should find a mix. Do not blame the product team from the beginning. Also, are you running the right type of campaigns? What's your priority? Like on AppLovin, for instance, are you running a CPE campaign or an ad ROAS campaign? On Unity ads, are you running a retention campaign, or are you running a day zero ROAS campaign? If you're running a day zero ROAS campaign and expecting a very high day 7 retention, and you don't expect that. Like, these impact each other deeply, user acquisition and retention. And when evaluating the performance, you need to take into consideration all of these factors.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Totally agree with the Uzeyir. That's the important thing, to acquire the best user for your game, for your title. But in addition to the best user, acquisition of the best user, you need to sustain your growth, as I mentioned before. You need to increase your break-even day to the, for example, after the day 7, day 10, day 14, by using the several strategies in your product, such as the offering, daily cast, daily chest, spin well. You need to allocate these features in your game to retain the user more than 7 days, 14 days. And also you need to implement new levels in your game to users to continue play your game, because I think users can understand if it's the same level or not. I can understand right now if I'm playing the soft launch game. Yeah, it's repeating, it's repeating, it's repeating. It can be boring for the users who are playing your game. So you need to use product strategies in addition to best user acquisition in the UA side. And also, I totally agree with the fake creative comment of the Uzeyir. You can use fake creatives. It's not really related with your gameplay, but yes, it can decrease the CPI. Beside of the CPI, it can decrease the LTV as well. So if your ROAS is decreasing, it's not good for you. Yes, you can decrease the CPI, but if you can't sustain your ROAS more than 100, it's not okay for you. I can give you as a comment.
100%. The quality of users could just vary from one channel to another tremendously. But then again, like, there are a few fundamental elements that we should always pay attention to. Well, we need to, I mean, as developers, as publishers, we need to always find the right balance between retention and monetization. Your users could retain well, but what if they don't monetize well? Meaning, what if they don't engage with rewarded ads to earn those like bonus points? What if they don't make IAPs? What if you don't have the right IAP offers, right? So all these metrics, they help you like maximize again your ARPDAU. And then what is the determining factor here? Well, your levels, like difficulty of your levels, it's also very important in this sense. Your levels need to be difficult enough to push your user base to make in-app purchases, not only one time though, like repeated in-app purchases, but then they shouldn't be too difficult so that they don't churn and they come back to your app the next day to play again. I mean, there are, of course, some tips and tricks that mobile app developers could make use of, such as live ops events or like limited offers like IAP discounts or like seasonal holiday offers. But then as a mediation platform, we've also seen success with the right use of rewarded ads. Right? Because we've seen that the right use of rewarded ad placements, they are quite successful at increasing retention rates, but also session lengths. You might have already played these like idle and arcade titles. For instance, say your day one session length is 10 minutes, right? And it is to be tested, of course. Like if you give the user the option to watch a rewarded ad every 2 minutes, every X minutes, say 3 minutes or so, in return for like a skill within the game that could just potentially improve their gameplay, then they tend to retain more. They tend to play for a longer period of time. In return, it just pretty much just increases your session length and then your impression per daily average user. I mean, we again need to find the right balance between eCPMs and IMPDAU for sure, because like if you increase IMPDAU, impression per daily average user, then eCPMs might have a tendency to decrease. So finding the right balance between eCPMs and IMTO is important to maximize your ARPDO, that is average revenue per daily average user. This is more like of course, like a cross-genre best practice, like use of rewarded ads, but you can always just adapt it to your own gameplay for sure.
For IAP heavy games, I think retaining a user is going to be important by how difficult the progressive stages of the game are. There has to be a right balance between the difficulty, because otherwise if the game is progressively becoming very difficult, the user might just trail off from playing that game again, right? So you need to have, it shouldn't be very easy, but it should also not be very difficult, so that the user loses interest in coming back to the game and, you know, buying in-app bundles to make his gameplay better. For IEA heavy game, retention and ROAS go hand in hand. The ad monetization is very important, and it plays a very important role in a way that if the retention is high from a particular source, but the ad monetization is not good and they are only monetizing through banners, the ROAS would not be as high. Whereas if they mix that with rewarded videos, interstitial slots, so on and so forth, then the ROAS will have a multiplier effect. So essentially, retention and ROAS are interlinked, but it purely depends what kind of game it is. Is it IAP heavy or IA heavy? And both of these games will have different strategies in intertwining both retention and ROAS.
All right. Thank you all for your valuable insights. I hope you find these topics interesting. I'm sure guys will be available for additional chat should you have some additional questions. But for now, that's all. Please give it up for all my panelists. It was a very interesting panel. Thank you all for your attention, and see you guys around. Thank you. I think we closed slightly early. Yeah. Maybe that's okay.